Welcome to the Sheff United Way. My name is Hal. Let's talk about 𝗏𝗏 Francis. Who is 𝗏𝗏 Francis? I should warn you, kind of right from the off, I don't know too much about 𝗏𝗏 Francis, but I've done as much digging as is humanly possible on a weekend to find out a little bit about this footballer. Unattached player 𝗏𝗏 Francis, aka Trialist, is currently being assessed by Sheffield United and played the first half against Chesterfield in United's opening pre-season friendly, a 2-0 win for the Blades at the Technique Stadium. And if you're wondering why 𝗍𝗶𝗶𝗏 didn't play, according to reports, his paperwork wasn't ready in time. I don't know. Francis is 20, a left footer, 6'2". He was born on the 15th of November, 2002. These players now being born in the noughties, it doesn't feel right. He plays centre-back. He can also operate at left-back. And so because he's left-footed, he can also operate at left centre-back, which is a position that Sheffield United would be looking to have a bit more depth in. Great news, of course, that Jack Robinson, has agreed a new deal. Seems like that's a deal that worked out well for him. You'd imagine it was Jack that was probably pushing for maybe more than just 1 year. And let's see how Jack can cope in the Premier League. Would I still like more depth there? Absolutely. Would I still like someone pushing at Jack's heels? Yes. Some of the reports online have suggested that 𝗍𝗏𝗍𝗶𝗏, Fenerbahce, Hungarian defender, was one that we were looking at. We don't know. We kind of have to just assume because that's now not on the table anymore. It doesn't really matter. But let's see who the next that we can actually attract is. Maybe 𝗏𝗏 Francis is going to be that player. Personally, I think he would be a development squad kind of signing if we decide to actually bring him in on a permanent deal. Francis began his career at Swindon Town. Then he played a season of first-team football with Southern League Division 1 central side North Lee before joining Bournemouth. And that was for a £100,000 figure. That was back in 2022. And he experienced a very brief loan spell at Weymouth last season. When he joined Bournemouth, he was quoted as saying this about his burgeoning career. My football journey started at Swindon Town from the age of 6. I progressed through the academy but was released at 18 after my scholarship ended. After a busy summer, I started the season with North Lee, who were excellent in helping me develop. I played over 30 games. It taught me a lot, especially the physical side of the game in competitive football. It was a new challenge as the game is played differently to what I was used to. My experience there also showed how vital the uglier side of the game was and how to fight for 3 points to push on in the league. I can't thank the staff enough at North Lee for the extra sessions and time they put in to helping me push on. End quote. And they did well as well at North Lee. So Francis was released by Bournemouth, as you heard, at the end of last season, so he's currently without a club. There's been rumours of another team in Sheffield, let's just call them Hump Day, being linked with the defender, as well as Blackpool and Charlton, who he played a friendly for. Again, as a trialist, he played 45 minutes of the Addicts' 4-0 pre-season friendly win against Wellington United. I managed to find some highlights and pictures of this. Amazingly, some seats were still available. Asked if Francis will remain with the club, this being Charlton, after these little trial spells that he's clearly having. Charlton boss Dean Holden told the South London Press, there's a conversation to be had in that there are 1 or 2 other clubs that have got wind of it and who are putting offers to him. I think we might have to make a decision on that quite quickly. We'll see how the conversations go. Discussing how Francis came to Charlton's attention, Dean Holden explained, there was a conversation I had with someone in the off-season, just an opportunity to have a look at 𝗏𝗏. You can see he's got great potential in terms of his size and his mobility. He's a left-sided centre-back and we do not have many of them in the club, same as Sheffield United. Holden goes on, just as importantly, if we did act on it, he wouldn't be blocking any pathway with that left foot on him. He's been with us all week and shown up really well. At Bournemouth, he went into a non-league loan after the January transfer window closed. Those were his only loan options available to him. He can be pleased with his week's work. So that's what Dean Holden, the Charlton boss, thinks, and it sounds to me like Francis, if he did decide to sign for Charlton, would get more first-team minutes than if he joined Sheffield United. But let's look at his key attributes. We always like to do this with every player that we're ever talking about, even if it's speculation, a player on trial or a player we've actually signed. But he's a player who is regarded as a good tackler, aggressive, makes well-judged decisions on the pitch, extremely determined, a leader with good positional sense. He's pacey, agile, does well in the air, as you'd expect for his size, and he's a natural athlete who keeps himself extremely fit. What about that game against Chesterfield? I thought he did well in the first half against Chesterfield, as Chesterfield player Hobson ran at him for the home side. Chris Francis stood up well, blocked the shot. He also demonstrated his pace with one really fast burst and then overhit the pass. Some people who saw that game on Twitter, I just picked a couple of comments. We've got KNG Demonda said on Twitter, I would genuinely sign Francis. He looked great, but I ain't going to lie. I thought it was 𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗲, of course, another Sheffield United youngster, from where I was watching. But yeah, I would sign him on a 3 to 4 year deal. Impressed enough to offer that many years. Steph on Twitter said, this Chris Francis looks steady. If he was signed, realistically, it wouldn't be for the first team. But what do you make of him, Blades? Any thoughts if you saw the Chesterfield match? Or if you're not a Sheffield United fan, you've seen him play before, please share your thoughts in the comments. Up the Blades. We'll be back with more videos when we're back with more videos.